Hello and welcome back to the Eagle-Gryphon Games vlog, and this week we'll have an interview of a co-designer of Baseball Highlights, the dice game, which is on Kickstarter right now. Then we'll give you a sneak peek at the upcoming expansion to Defenders of the Realm, Companions, and Catacombs, and then we'll finish it off with a game giveaway. But first, let's update you on the current Kickstarter that launched last week, and a quick game overview as well. Eagle-Gryphon Games thanks the backers of Mike Fitzgerald's Kickstarter for achieving the initial funding goal, and we want to remind you that getting more of those stretch credits is entirely up to you as of now. For each $5,000 in pledges above the initial goal, a $2 stretch credit is earned and credited towards the great add-ons available. We've almost achieved our first $2 stretch credit, but we need you to get your friends and family to pledge so that more stretch credits pile up over the course of the next week. So tell everyone about this great Kickstarter campaign, and together, let's build up those stretch credits. And since Football Highlights the Dice Game is the expansion to Baseball Highlights the Dice Game, and it's on this Kickstarter project, let me give you a quick overview of Football Highlights the Dice Game. Football Highlights the Dice Game is an expansion to Baseball Highlights the Dice Game, where 1 to 4 players are going to be simultaneously trying to work their way down the field to get touchdowns and field goals by selecting runs and passes. Each player gets their own field sheet, and they'll be using those different plays, runs and passes, to work their way down specific tracks to gain yardage and possibly chain together different effects. The game's played over multiple rounds, and each round, each player will get to be the active player. When you're the active player, you get to take all of one dice type and run that play. Let's say this is how my sheet looked from a previous turn. I'm going to run the 3-run play 4 times. So you'll begin to work down that track like this one has to circle 4, which means I get to chain it together to play 4. In this case, I get 5 yards. Normally that would move me 5 yards down the field, trying to get towards the end zone, but that pesky defense has a minus 10 yards for any pass play, which that was. In addition to that, I have this Y here, which is yards after catch, so I had to go down that track here. Nothing now, but next time it's going to be worth 15 yards. And that was all with just one of the 4 times I ran that play this turn. Here's the second, here's the third, which gets me not only 15 yards from a rushing play, which moves me from the 45 all the way to the 30, but this also had a B for breakaway, so I get to work down this track too, hoping to gain extra yards as the game goes on. And on the last die, I get to cross this off, which then allows me to go to 4, which then allows me to come back to 3 and get a power dice. Not only do I get to cross this off, but in future turns when I'm the active player, I get that power die to add to my possibilities, but don't worry, the other players can't use it. But this is simultaneous, so after I've taken the dice as the active player, all other players get to select any 2 different dice and mark those down on their sheets, but they don't take the dice off the board. Then the next player clockwise becomes the active player, rolls the dice that the last active player used, plus the defense die, to give a new distribution of choices to make. Sometimes you'll find yourself working down the kicker track, which allows you to kick a field goal a little bit closer than before. Because now I can get 3 points from kicking from the 15 and starting back over at the 45, or do I press my luck and try to score a touchdown for 7 points instead? Because it can be risky, because even if I was able to get 25 yards on a pass, those 25 yards would actually bring me out of the end zone and be an incomplete pass. It's a little harder to score the closer you get, so sometimes you may want to take that field goal, and there's more subtleties like this found in the game. You play a certain amount of rounds depending on the amount of players, and whoever has the highest score out of all players is the winner. And there's also a solo game with multiple levels of difficulty where you're trying to beat the Blitz back points. Football Highlights is for ages 8 and up and only takes 20 minutes to play. And since it's available as an expansion to Baseball Highlights the Dice Game in the Kickstarter that's running now, you can click the project link below to be brought right to the project page. Ian Bach is a U.S. game designer from Broomfield, Colorado. He is a board-certified family medicine physician who has been in private practice but now works as an employed physician to SCLHS at the Thornton Medical Center. As a game designer, he's created 2 unofficial expansions to 7 Wonders and is the co-designer of Football Highlights the Dice Game, so let's welcome in Ian Bach.
I began designing board games in 2012. A friend, Peyton Tolliver, introduced me to modern board gaming. He taught me Seven Wonders. I loved it and have since played thousands of games with and without the expansions. As much as I love Seven Wonders, I saw many ways that I thought I could improve it. Another friend, Dan Schwaninger, and I sat down and created two fan-inspired expansions for Seven Wonders, the Far East expansion and the Gods expansion. As a bit of a gimmick, I also created a holiday expansion that I included each of our friends as a special and grossly overpowered leader or god. I ended up producing a very limited print run of 3 copies. Ultimately, I was frustrated by the limitations that I saw in Seven Wonders. The solution was to create my own game. I called that game Centuries, a card drafting tableau builder that I dubbed Seven Wonders on steroids. Rather audaciously, I pitched this to Zev of Z-Man Games and to Sean of Mr. B Games. After they both turned it down, I self-published it on GameCrafter. As of the most recent count, I have sold a grand total of 4 copies. My favorite mechanic is card drafting, so I love Seven Wonders and some of the others like Fairy Tale. I'm a big fan of worker placement games like Agricola, Caverna, and Feast of Odin. Most recently, I've had a blast playing Marble Champions and Quacks of Quinlanburg. With my family, we've played many co-ops like Pandemic Legacy, Spirit Island, and Betrayal Legacy. I got involved with Mike Fitzgerald on the Sports Highlights Dice Game project at the 2019 BCon here in Denver. During the first day of the con, Mike brought an early prototype for the Sports Highlights Dice game, but just the baseball part. We played a few games and gave Mike feedback. I remember telling Mike at the time that I thought it would be fairly easy to make a football version of the dice game. He thought it was a good idea, but he was focusing his energies on the baseball game part first. That night, with an Excel spreadsheet and a pile of dice, I prototyped the football game using 11 dice for the 11 players on a football team. I envisioned a football field where players advanced their tokens, and I tried to do some custom dice with yardage adjustments. I also tried my hand at a player sheet. I came up with 3 ways to score: touchdowns, field goals, and safeties. The next day, Mike took a look at the prototype and agreed to play it. Despite all manner of problems with the first prototype, he saw the kernel of a good game, and our collaboration was born. My favorite part of working with Mike as a co-designer was the freedom to float an idea, no matter how offbeat, and talk it through until we could extract the best part of that idea. Both Mike and I have strong ideas about how to design games, and yet each of us can present an idea, talk it through, and find the best parts without feeling attacked or belittled. Even though Mike is a veteran designer, he does not condescend, and he is open to new ideas, even if they seem a little crazy at the time. Also, watching another designer create has been a real joy. So much of the time I get stuck in a rut with my own way of design. Seeing how a true veteran with more than 80 designs to his name goes about his work has taught me many tricks and techniques that have made my own design so much stronger. At any one time, I have about a dozen game ideas and projects on which I'm working. With Mike Fitzgerald, I hope to continue to contribute to his Sports Highlights series. I've already shown another roll and write with a sports theme to Mike, and he seems really interested in it. Hopefully, we can interest the wonderful folks at Eagle-Gryphon. In collaboration with Ricky Yanner, I am designing a game that combines set collection with the mechanic of resource gathering through a dexterity mechanism. Called Mission Improbable: The Journey to Gliese 357, the game is about building and rebuilding a fleet of generation ships while they journey to a new world orbiting around Gliese 357. Amongst my other projects is a family game, a real family game, with my daughters Hannah and Olivia as co-designers. This game is about ice fishing on Ganymede. Also, I'm working on a co-op about archaeologists exploring a tomb, a game about royal family trees in Europe, a quirky tableau builder about constructing solar systems, and a wacky game about medieval medical quacks.
Defenders of the Realm, Companions and Catacombs is an upcoming expansion for Richard Lanius' Defenders of the Realm, in which players will have the opportunity to recruit companions to aid their heroes, as well as new dungeons to explore in search of powerful relics. Companions and Catacombs will be available for pre-order soon, along with the Heroes Calling expansion and an updated game board for the Defenders of the Realm base game. Baseball Highlights 2045 is a deck-building card game for 1 to 4 players that's like watching TV highlights of early 21st century baseball games, with the gameplay being full of theme with no outs or innings and without being bogged down like a play-by-play baseball simulation. You'll be building the perfect team of robots and naturals to play a 7-game World Series in under 45 minutes. In this quick and interactive game, you'll build your teams as you play, combining both strategy, building your team, and tactics, playing the game without any downtime. During each minigame, each player alternates playing 6 cards to simulate a full game's highlights. The minigame includes defensive and offensive actions, and your single card play may include elements of defensive and/or offensive plays. Do you want to thwart your opponent's pending hits, put up strong offensive actions of your own, or use better players to do both? You'll buy new free agents after each minigame to improve your roster, and the team who wins the most minigames in the series is the champ. You can even play in large tournaments with more than 4 players with multiple copies of the game. Baseball Highlights 2045 is great for baseball fans and for fans of deck-building strategy games. There's also an introductory version available called Baseball Highlights 2045 Spring Training, which is a great way to get your feet wet with the game, and it's being offered for only $5 as an add-on to the current Baseball Highlights the Dice Game Kickstarter mentioned earlier in this vlog. And you can click the link below to be brought directly to the project page. Wyatt Earp is a rummy-style card game where the players are bounty hunters who work cooperatively and competitively to try to capture the most notorious outlaws of the Old West. It's designed by Mike Fitzgerald, and it's available as an add-on to the ongoing Kickstarter highlighted earlier in this vlog. But today, you can win your very own copy. 1 copy will be given away today, and to enter, simply subscribe and leave a comment on the video below telling us what your favorite Mike Fitzgerald game is. Now you have 1 week from when this video is launched to enter, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Eagle-Gryphon Games vlog. You can click the link below me for the playlist to see all the past week's vlog, and we'll see you next week.